Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Thank you for being here. It is Tuesday. I always say this. I don't know how it got to be Tuesday again. It just snuck up on me. Somehow the days go so fast. This is going to be a short one today because I really need to go eat lunch. But I think there is always something to talk about. So if you are here and you have things that you're working on with your voice, please let me know so I can talk about them and answer any questions you have. And if not today, if you're watching this later, you can post your questions in here still, and I will keep in mind for next week. But I did have a bunch of people ask me questions, so I might borrow one of those and answer that here. Let's see, what do we got? So we have more control. I'm looking for more control so I can add vibrato where I want it. And the ending of sounds is hard. I either lose strength or cut off too abruptly. So this is a thing that a lot of people deal with, needing to find control and trying to make vibrato part of that control. It really is kind of a yin-yang situation with vibrato, because if the thing you want is control, the thing you got to do is relinquish control. I know that sounds crazy, but the thing with vibrato and with control in general is that we have to keep in mind that these teeny little muscles in here have a job to do, and they know how to do it already. And what we're looking for in control, what we're really saying is we're looking for more freedom to do what I want to do. And so when you're trying to add more control on a mechanism that already knows how to do its job, and you are intellectualizing that job and trying to figure out what is happening and where you need to effort more, which is usually what happens from the search for control, you are only going to find your limit that much faster. And the control you're looking for and the control you're trying to put behind your voice is going to only lead to overexertion and forcing and over pushing for most of us anyway. This is not the case for everybody. Like I talk about, sometimes there are people who gravitate towards the fight response as a default, and there's people that gravitate towards the flight response as a default, and then the freeze response. So if you are a fighter, this is you. When you're trying to control your voice more, you are most likely going to end up squeezing too hard with the outer vocal muscles and trying to put the weight on where you feel like the voice is coming from, which totally makes sense, right? If you are trying to sing stronger or control or add vibrato in when you want it, the muscles that you are going to go for first are going to be, okay, I need to do something in here, right? I need to change something because it's not working, so I'm going to change my approach with these muscles because these are where the singing comes from, right? The unfortunate part about that is these muscles are so tiny. When we add that need to control in, it's usually coming from the outer vocal muscles. And we are so quick to oversteer with those vocal muscles that they really mess with the inner workings of the vocal folds, which are on the inside. So you have the vocal folds, which are on the inside, and the extrinsic vocal muscles on the outside. And you have the vocal folds, which has their own system of little teeny muscle groups that open and close and push together and pull apart the vocal folds. And it requires a lot of you trusting in your vocal mechanism that it knows how to make the sound that you're wanting to make. And the problem with that, with this need to control, and especially around the issue of vibrato and or volume and power, is that when we think we need to make this thing happen that is not already happening, we make a huge choice. And then the extrinsic, that's a hard word to say, extrinsic vocal muscles get in there and do too much, right? And so that's where you get squeezing. So if these vocal muscles are doing too much, they'll often end up pulling the vocal folds apart, more apart than you want them to be, which is where we get this squeezy, breathy kind of a sound like, ah! Or like if you're trying to add vibrato on, it becomes like, ah, and you're trying to do something, but the only thing that your brain can connect how to move muscles in this moment is to pull the vocal muscles apart, because that's the thing we do most of the time when we are messing with our vocal tone, is either whisper or speak, and that is that same muscle, pulling apart or pressing together the vocal folds. So this other muscle that is contributing to vibrato is something that we don't hardly ever use, and which is why the muscle that we go to first is the pulling apart muscle, and that's not the muscle that we want to make vibrato happen, unfortunately. And that muscle requires not pushing, not engagement, but loosening and relaxing and releasing. So again, this is why I say in order to have the control you're looking for, you have to relinquish control. And it is unfortunately the opposite of what you think you have to do. And so in order to have the control in your voice that you're looking for, as an adult singer specifically, it requires so much letting go of these protective shoulds and beliefs that you have about your voice that you already have built in over many years of practicing singing and hearing things about your voice and all that. So what we need to do is look at what we are feeling is a should about our voice, what this belief is about our voice. Like, oh, I have this belief in my head that I can't make a vibrato happen. I tried everything, I just can't make it happen. I can't control my voice. Why is it not doing what I want it to do? Usually it's because we have this underlying belief underneath that is, I already don't know how to make that sound. And the thing that needs to happen in order to make that sound is I have to push and I have to work hard, because I've been told that I got to work harder my whole life. And so that's the option for me. And so then we end up pushing and the thing doesn't happen. This goes for high notes too. This goes for low notes. This goes for a lot of things that people are really just trying to control so hard. And these little muscles don't respond to that in the same way as, say, your quads do or your biceps do, right? Like, I had a couple of students who are athletes and they were pole vaulters, relevant to the Olympics this week. And they said in order to get that pole vault, they had to run with everything they had. And then to get over that, you have to really just squeeze every muscle in your body to get over that pole, right? And so it makes sense that they have this pattern in their body of squeezing and controlling and engaging and doing in order to make something happen. But with these little teeny muscles in here, sometimes if we overdo and we don't know what muscles to engage, we end up over-engaging all of them, right? Just like a pole vaulter would before he goes up over, because you've got to get as much momentum to get over that pole, right? But unfortunately, high notes do not work the same way as pole vaulting. So we have to remind ourselves that I can make this sound without all the over-efforting that I think I need, because of this belief I have that I need to push harder to make things happen. Are you with me? Let me know if you're with me. So in that case, the need is to let go of these shoulds. Remind yourself that you are safe, that you can do so many things without all of this compulsion and need to do. And let's find a way to make that something similar to that sound with the least effort possible. And for me, for vibrato, I guess this is the one we're talking about, is find a way to let your voice be super loose. So the thing you'll hear a lot of people say with vibrato is like, do a little tremolo in between two notes so that you're already loose enough to move notes, and then you end up solidifying on one note. So it looks like, ah, and then you end up being a little looser, but on one note instead. Another thing you'll hear people say is sing a note and shake your hands, shake your whole body. Ah, and that gets you looser to do that vibrato, and eventually you'll start to be able to settle into that coordination so that you can be loose the entire time you're singing a note. If those two don't work for you, like, we got to change how you are thinking about the goal here, right? So the other thing that I like to add in when we're talking about vibrato and control in particular is we need to talk about what the goal is. Is the goal the same as it has been for you in the past, which is to hold a note and to hold a note steady and to hold a note with steady tone? Because this is going to be a different process than that goal was. So we have to kind of get that out of your brain a little bit and say, the goal is not to hold this note perfectly. The goal is actually to sing this note really messily, because that's the thing that's going to get you to a nice vibrato, because you are not holding on to this note anymore like maybe you have practiced in the past. We are actually loosening our grip fully and being messy on purpose. So on purpose, sing weird notes, right? Like on purpose, loosen the screw so that the note maybe almost changes pitch, right? Because that's what vibrato is. It's a slight change of frequency and change of pitch quickly over time. And that's where we get that vibration sound, right? And that means loosening up on this muscle in there that is associated with holding pitch. And that is the secondary vocal folds, where it's holding where your larynx is in space, as well as the length of your vocal folds. So what we need to do is actually lean further into singing a not correct note, which is mind-blowing, right? So if the first two things that I said don't work for you, maybe play with what your goal is in your mind, right? Is your goal always to sing a perfect note? That might get you actually in trouble in this execution of vibrato, or the searching for more control. Because chances are, if you can hold a note for a long note, you don't need more control. You need more freedom. And you need to let go of the fact that you think what you need is more control, when really what you need is to let go and to let your vocal mechanism do what it knows how to do already. I know this is going to come across very strange to some of you that don't know what I'm talking about, but give it a try. On purpose, let go of your death grip on these notes and see if you can play with finding some vibrato, finding high notes, finding some runs. Runs are the same way. We got to let go so much more than we think we do. Usually when people are learning runs, they approach them as, oh, I got to give it everything I got so that I sing this run so exact that nobody can ever tell me I did it wrong. So it ends up being like, so we're muscling every single note. Whereas once we get the exact notes in our brain and we can find the landscape of it on our head, we have to do so much letting go so that we can still have the accuracy of those notes. But over time, as we get faster and faster, we let go and we relinquish control to these muscles that have done it already. And so it ends up needing to be a process over time of like, yes, I know what notes I need to hear. And then over time, I need to fully let go of my need to nitpick and be exact and intellectualize those notes, because I've done it 500 times at this point, and I trust my mechanism to do what it needs to do, which is find those notes quicker and smoother. So instead of becoming and pushing on each note, it ends up being like right? So you trust yourself because you have done the work and put it in the past. And then when you trust yourself, then you let go of the right muscles and you're not over exerting so much, which is what the need for control will get you. My thoughts on singing straws. Thank you for asking that. I love singing straws. I forget that I have them a lot. So put them in a place where you will remember that you have them and use them. I really love them for warming up and cooling down and learning new songs, because it kind of resets some habits that we have. It gives you a nice back pressure, because what normally happens is air is coming through your pelvic folds one way, but this way it's kind of giving your muscles a good stretch with that back pressure. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Highly recommend them. Start slow. Don't start with like the smallest version ever. I would start with a coffee straw, maybe cut in half, and then put 2 or 3 of them together, so you don't have the huge amount of resistance from the get-go. Like start with like 3 and then ease your way down to 2 and then 1. Because the less space there is for that air to go, the more back pressure you're going to have. And if you're not used to that yet, it's going to be really weird and you're not going to get sounds out that you want to. So the other way to start is just a normal straw in a little bit of water in a glass. That gives you a little back pressure too. And then eventually start making the straw smaller and smaller. Highly recommend. It's a good stretch. It's really, really nice. Sometimes I've had people learn how to mix better by using those as well, because it really makes you think about the placement of those notes. And mix is so much about placement and not holding back from using need to get it out there. Like if you sing really lightly through a straw, you're not going to get as much back pressure. But if you send that placement forward, you're going to feel that back pressure. And so it really is a nice feedback loop for that. Does that answer your question? Highly recommend. I have an affiliate link that I can share with you. I should have it in my bio all the time, but I forgot about it. Singing straw. I'll put it in my bio right after we get done with this. How's that? But yeah, you can get those. I think it's 10% off my link. So there you go. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat lunch, but it was nice to hang out with you guys. And thank you for being here. And I want you to reevaluate your position on the need to control your voice so much. Because chances are, like I said, if you can hold pitch, if you can hold a note, you don't really need more control. You need to allow. You need to let go of control and relinquish your feeling that you have to do more and that you have to intellectualize how to make this thing happen. Guess what? You probably can already make that sound. We're just going to bring that ease back into singing from speaking or noise making or whatever category you put that in. But most of the time, what we're doing in here is not searching for control, because the energy of control is tightness and over-efforting and pushing. And what we're looking for so much more often, underneath the control that you think you're looking for, is freedom and allowing and finding the feeling first and being able to replicate that feeling within the context of a song. And so much of the time, that feeling of freedom that we're looking for, we equate as control because we see other people do it and they're like, wow, they got that note exactly right. But guess why they got that note exactly right? Because they trusted their mechanism to get that note exactly right. Because they've done it a bunch of times, right? So the control that you're looking for comes from iteration and trust of your mechanism to do what it needs to do. Because, as I said, if you can hold pitch, if your training is not an issue for you, you don't need control. The control that I teach is basically in the very, very beginning. If you are having trouble matching pitch, the control that we're looking for is literally strengthening the connection between your ear and your voice, and the connection between what your mind wants to do and what is coming out of here. And after that point, so much of what I do, especially with adults, is looking into the beliefs about why you feel like you don't have control and letting go of control. Because if you're a fighter like me, if you're a flighter like me, we do these things. We block ourselves, we get in our own way in order to feel like we have some semblance of control. But in my experience, when I got to a certain point with my singing, my only goal was to let go. And then I sang how I wanted to sing every time. That's my only goal now, is to let go. Yes, I practice, of course. I figure out a plan, how to sing these certain lines. And then once I have a plan, I let go. I even let go of the plan. I'm like, okay, I'm great. I have a plan. I have a landmark. I have a guide. But if I'm too focused on hitting that plan exactly, I am going to push myself over the edge into overdoing. You know? Let me know. Give me an emoji if you've ever felt that way, because my goodness. If you are an overthinking, perfectionist, anxious person like me, you know that feeling. We do, and into the ground. So honestly, what we're looking for is more freedom, more openness. Iteration leads to trust. That's how we get the control that we're looking for. And once you trust yourself, you let go. And that is how you get the note every time. I know it's probably not what you want to hear. I don't know what people want me to say when they ask me how do I find control with their voice, or how do I find an easy way to get vibrato. I'm like, you gotta battle some demons inside of you that are telling you not to let go. That's it. And it is a not fun answer, but that is the answer for most people. You may not be one of those people, and that's okay. There are some people that need to do a little more instead of do less, and that's cool. But you probably know who you are. And I couldn't tell you which one you are until you come and sing for me, and we talk about all the beliefs that you have about your own voice. But these are things you can ask yourself every day. You can be like, okay, the sound is not happening the way I want it to. What do I need? More control. Okay, what did Sarah say? Underneath the need for control is a need to get it right. And I'm probably over-efforting in this point. How can I find this sound with the least amount of effort possible? And then bring that into your song every time. And iterate that again and again and again until you trust yourself, and then you're golden. I know it sounds really easy, but it takes a long time. It takes a long time. So you're doing all the right things. I appreciate you, and I love you. Oh, sorry, Sarah, I missed your comments, but thank you. All of the above. Yes, totally. Yep. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day. My Enchanted membership is always open, up in the thing. If you want to work with me, we have monthly live sessions that I'm here for. You can sing for me, and we can talk about all this stuff and see how this lands for you. I won't be opening another program for a little while, unfortunately, so that's the only way to work with me. However, you do get access to me. If you share videos in the group, I will watch them and I will give you feedback. And then once a month, we have a live session. You can sing with me and with the group. It's a pretty small group right now, so it's not too scary, I promise. But yeah, Enchanted membership is always open. If you have questions, let me know. My messages are always open. And I love you so much, and I'll see you very soon.